Sometimes, thank you for that introduction. Sometimes when I hear people say this sort of thing, I go, who are they talking about? But thank you. And I gotta say that I have never been able to get my head around one-liner poems, and mine are always much longer. So here goes. These first three are from my new book, um, Animals. Now I'm holding up a proof copy because the others are somewhere else. So um, the first one is called Rediscovering Lost Worlds. A waterfall plunges hundreds of feet down into a chasm, only flown into by hummingbirds. They dip into the edges of the cascading water and slipping through the rainbows of red and blue, yellow and purple down there. Green vegetation grasps tenuous footholds on rock faces lining the walls. The water cares not. It goes on. There's a quiet roar from below. It is as if the water is civilization, slipping toward discord, descending away from the heights of culture, languages, arts, to be forgotten as they always are on the broken cliffs of time. As humanity searches for the right answer, stubbing toes again on the wrong interpretations, even while standing in broad sunlight. The river continues to pour over cliffside, white mist obscuring, seeing the way, pouring towards a new enlightenment, a coat of many colors. The rock beneath is ancient, smooth, brown sandstone. Fossils can be seen within them. To trudge on this evenness is stepping in the direction of a distant hut, barely visible off in the horizon. The light inside welcoming we strangers, encouraging us to step determinedly towards building anew. Thank you. This next one is called The Sacred Places. It is found in the book. Um, I believe that all my poems, or anyone's poems, ought to be um, stand alone, and then, so what I'm going to do is if I have a comment to make about a particular poem, I'm going to make it after. This one's called The Sacred Places. They are a forever altar, and visiting them, we are altered, as the voices of those grounds speak louder than any rock band like The Who. It is the stories of our existence, of those that preceded us and mattered, ranging far beyond any one culture, a sanctified parcel strong enough to hold all our feet together with those that came before. The facets to our thousand cultures is the duty poets have to speak to. For those few seekers live in places most do not. A place reverently constructed to become the stony reminders of the great deeds mankind is able to do. A place to remember the sky flyers whose bones lay beneath the ground now, while their spirits live on within us. We have had that combat, whether it be one of blood and outcome or not. All of us have raised mausoleums from the earth to commemorate the building for the lost, the inspired. Those that tower above the ground and draw us nigh, buttressed to feel in the taking into our conscious thoughts. Our souls grow because of the many blue depths there. Reaching back into the stories, a telling of the holdings our red hearts have. There are many of us that need to hear the colors, to be in the place of no one speaking, in the awe of it. The falcon and the bearer of the earth, even as we are, and we always return to it. Thank you. Stories from the before. There are many great warriors, and the tales about them are about the steel. The shiny metal dragons flying, separating the wood. Gray metal whales cleaving the sea. Those steel armadillos dissevering the enemy. There are a great many renditions about the brave, who once having been fearful, became fearless, facing enemies with found courage. My father was one of them. He flew the steel dragons dropping from the sky inside God's bubble, making the ground shake and those on it afraid of the fire from the sky. 3 great conflicts did he fly the steel dragons, girdling his iron underwear to be ready for the fight, carrying the fire to his enemies. There are many accounts of dropping out from clouds, silently falling earthwards, bringing terror to those bound to the ground. The hordes of Mongols dissolved. I have his blood in me, being of the warrior clan. Courage flows in my arteries. Resilience courses in my veins because of that. It is a joy to know this part of me. Because of that, I can look the bear in the eye. If I should die from it, it will be a good death. I will join the others from the before. Swiftly, when that occurs, the shared blood draws it nigh. My Father waits for me there. We will see each other again and tell our stories of the earth. I am born from a military pilot, an Air Force pilot, highly decorated guy. I miss him still. This next piece was the featured poem in the Panorama 2025 Festival of International Writers at Athens, Greece. And it is written about Colorado, sort of. It's called 3 Waterfalls. Seeing them in winter, frozen mostly, a long, white, cascaded, soft shape is entirely different from the summer mountainside, when the strength of the water tumbling down the 1,400-foot peak brings the feelings of wetness home. That moisture becomes as thoughts, those moving almost dreamlike through the synapses of the brain. As the water cascades, becoming image after image, the movie behind the eyelids, one consecutive reel, thoughts connecting with the pictures there, a moist landing pool that is about to become speech. This mountain scrapes the sky with definition. Clouds are barely above it in the blue sky, shaped into the harsh ridgetops above the tree line. Yet below it, there are the evidences of forests, some removed by snowslides of avalanche. Trees lying askew, mowed by God's version of a lawnmower. The lowest of the 3 waterfalls has not lost anything of its forceful downpour. A fine mist congeals at its base. Colors float in it, wafting one into another, moved by an invisible wind. The pool at the base is just out of sight, the tall pines covering the last passages. She is sitting there on the creek bank, where the water has ended up as tributary through the roaring watercourse below. The rocks on the bank, her only seat. It is the place she goes to have a sense of herself, and the questions she must debate and answer inside her own ruminations. There are the necessary silences then, only interrupted by the arpeggios of water moving by, or elk talk, the bugling heard only faintly, as far off as the answers she seeks. Thank you. This next piece, I want to say that I had written it, but I didn't, and I want to feature a piece by Thomas Transtormer, the Swedish Nobel Prize winner in 2011. This piece is called The Half-Finished Heaven. Despondency breaks off its course. Anguish breaks off its course. The vulture breaks off its flight. The eager light streams out. Even the ghosts take a draught. And our paintings see daylight, our red beast of the Ice Age studios. Everything begins to look around. We walk in the sun in hundreds. Each man is a half-open door, leading to a room for everyone. The endless ground under us. The water is shining among the trees. The lake is a window into the earth. Thomas Tranströmer, Swedish amazing poet, was a psychotherapist. And he's one of my poet heroes. So I'm just going to keep rocking on here, and this next piece is a reflection, has an epitaph as reflection and realizations on climate change, but it's called Sunken Basilicas. Whether I come from the land of dark and cold, this late eve it is hard to tell which way the ocean does swell. I recognize that the lands do want their own way with all of us. Tonight the seas do roar as the lighthouse searches for we that soar. There is a basilica just under the waves, forever preserved by waters overlapping, sunken there by the land's shift. The year's quake in 1065 made the continents drift. An ancient church built over another older temple. These have been houses of the gods, believed in by those then in their lore that walk there on that dry Turkish shore. Recognizing that the lands do want their own way over all of us. That night the seas did roar, the lighthouse searches for what may soar. We came thinking to dominate the land, believing that we were always the masters of that which we see, that we may purview, oh, so little that we knew. It is Mother Earth that makes all of us, and lest it be forgotten, the very land below us drops under, putting our grand plans into plunder. Our new basilicas eventually will join those elders under the rolling blue waters, reminding breathlessly that sandaled feet can no longer walk there. Thank you. This next piece is called Italia. Italia. Maybe I should move to another country where the mystery still exists, where a woman sits wondering and isn't put off by gray hair. Perhaps moving to that country would do the trick. Cooking for that lady wouldn't be under such scrutiny. We could share each other's Epicurean delight, not shattering a subtle, apparent mystification, the culture so appealing to the wonder of the when and the why not. Perhaps someplace like Tuscany, or maybe not, someplace closer to the mountains like Verona, or even closer like Bolzano, where one can easily escape to Die Schweiz or to Österreich. Some smattering of my speaking German remains just under the surface. Still, Italia seems wonderfully appropriate, up towards where the snow is deep in winter, and no excuse is needed to throw another set of logs on the wood stove. And the only beaten path is to the woodpile and back. There, new, possibly Conceivably, footpaths could be made up and around the frozen creek that in warmer times flows nicely beside the sloped driveway. Solo footsteps in the snow are meant to reflect on. The winter snowfall refreshes the mountain cliffs. Close your eyes. See the plumes of snow blowing there. Thank you. I thought this one was especially appropriate given the political situation of the United States. This next one is called Telephone. He found himself gripping the chair, white-knuckled, telling his hands to release, hearing her words on the other end of the line where those words had been said, spoken like a slap to the ears. No, like a cut to the forehead. She said that her upstairs was dark, and the downstairs was dark too. A communique about the light only in one room, but more than a darkness, landing as if there was no distance between them. The words sounded with immediate effect, sourcing that loss as if there hadn't been any time lapsed since that sunny March morning it had happened. There and then came his own dark grays. The ownership of a space between the stars, no galaxies to illuminate. There the sea of blue, the many blues of the very deep, lapped again at the shores of his emotions without hesitation, his wanting to ease her pain without presencing his own. Gripping the chair arm, stretching his fingers out, a release, one that's left with an image of the tearful reds of want, that wistfulness of loneliness. In the circle of porch light, there was nothing to do but listen this night. Far off, there was thunder, a storm raining tears. Thank you. This next one is called Grace Slick and Papa John Creech. Some of you may know those two musicians. Lifting a selection, repeating the lyrics again and again until the magnitude of the lyric is actually heard and understood. On the escarpment wall leading atop the mesa, there is a ladder to an earnest cliff dwelling, a tender, affectionate place made of native red sandstone under a protective overhang, leading arroyos to the structure of enamor, of which pushes passion into existence. In this age, groups stand alone. Affluence stands by itself too, judging based on the solitary value of appearance, exclusively lest isolated from the passion felt. Then walking quickly away barefoot into a cool grayish-brown lonesomeness, smelling of rain far off in the distance. Yet we are right where we started, staring at bare feet, toes covered in the dust from a mountain trail, tall peaks nearby, having carefully walked around the rocks there, and glad for the warmth of summer. If only, if only, if only we believed in what is. No lack of depth in the blue pools, disregarding the dew of green grasses, wetness of creation not stopping, a placenta having opened to life, to escape into the world of demands and needed visions. Loving each place of occupation, loving each other if only we could, and knowing we should, swimming in that flood Oh, if we just would. Thank you. I've written much more political stuff than that, but that one there also suits today's strife here in my country. And there was a great conversation earlier in today in this very Zoom universe about monkeys. And so here's a piece. It's called Simians. What I will become waits in me like an ape, moving hand in hand through the tree limbs, shaking the flitting leaves with the movement as if a wind blows strong. What I may become is different from that, like an orangutan, all orange and hairy with an expressive face and having arms too long for a nicely tailored shirt. Thinking sometimes that what I have become is expressing like a howler monkey, a white-faced with a screech that resounds off the trunks of trees in the jungle as their leaves absorb the rain. What I have seen with closed eyes is yet to be. Where in the river is there a rock to hold on to? The eye of Horus stares at me, its magical powers inherit, daring me to use my opposable thumb. Thank you. Now my last piece, and I'm sure there's some of you going, wow, I'm really glad it's his last piece. But this one requires a little bit of explanation, and here it is I do this thing here in Colorado Springs with some jazz musicians I've grown fond of. And it's the leader of the band likes to do multimedia stuff. For example, he sometimes has an artist in the back of the gig painting or drawing. And in my case, he includes poetry with the music. And this was written on December 27th last year. And what the band leader does is he introduces me at the beginning of the first set. Actually, they play a tune and then he introduces me. And then he tells the audience I'm going to be writing during the first set and reading at the second set. And we both get words from the audience to incorporate into a poem. Now, I know this piece is not going to stand up to Wordsworth or Thomas Transformer's work or almost any member of the Dead Poets Society. But here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. Words from the audience. Live life passionately, happy, amazing, resolutions, inspiring, hot and sandy, prosperous, present, and drop dead legs. Now, no challenge to put all that into a poem, right? Anyway, here it is. You may find yourself happy. You may find yourself as amazing to someone else. And looking about for that hot and sandy beach where being present to the inspiring person you are with is possible. Then there are those resolutions, the vows you made on your own personal prayer rug, kneeling and then supine, wishing for a better way. That well-being is not a one-solution kind of problem. It feeds into nature, nurture, and those lifestyle choices you made because your context made you do it. You need poets to speak your unspeakables, just as music is medicine. Your desires are like a famous comedian's, moving at the speed of intuitive comedy, dancing with laughter while pulling at you to come hither with a slight tilt of the head, as if to entice to the sense of a laugh. It's finding your access to joy. It's also a moment of surrender. With our moments of acknowledging contractions, the desire of being better, damning the elusiveness of discipline, it is a duck-billed platypus grinning, laughing at your New Year's resolutions. Resolutions are found somewhere, those wishes in between fiction and non-fiction. It's usually fantasy in your mind. You forget to adhere to that poignant vow that all you are thrown to think is, I'm not doing something. Resolutions are like your doctor's way of proving you're a stranger to the thinking human race. Resolutions are those mischievous possums going through your garbage. It's someplace like a dream, living your life, where you are in a place vaguely familiar. The sight may be crisp and clear, sometimes passionate, full of symbols little understood. Now you find yourself in a different place. A jump only found in REM sleep, traveling only suddenly down Mississippi's Highway 61. It is summer, hot. You can see the road ahead, rising in barely visible waves, cracked yellow lines showing the road ahead, and seeking Robert Johnson's crossroads to feel the moment the devil met, glimpsing the soul's trade for a power unseen. Got to get to that better place. Interpretation sits on that hill just over there, with its drop-dead legs and a dangerous black miniskirt and an amused smile at your befuddlement. There just might be a year of prosperity in front of us. We all are a work in progress. Thank you for listening to my work. I so appreciate this space here and all of you fine poets. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. What a warm display of worldly talent.
Thank you, Ed.
Brilliant that uh, as if the water is civilization slipping toward discord. Oh my God. Um, the I can totally visualize this because I grew up in Maine. The only beaten path is to the woodpile and back. I can totally see that. Um, and what a statement here. If only we believed in what is. Holy Lord, isn't that a bizarre situation that we live in, not believing in what is because of our own minds? And now we know what the Zen masters who say no mind, no problem mean by that. What I have seen with closed eyes is yet to be. Absolutely. What an incredible statement of truth. And so let's all open our mics and applaud or comment on Ray's excellence.
Yay. Yay, Ray.
Ray, that was
Yay,
awesome,
Ray.
man.
Thank you for being a ray of sunshine. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Ray, it's great that you come on the show regularly and share with us, and to have an extended set with you was a real treat. So thanks for that.
Absolutely. Well said, Rorschach.
It's like every word is intricate and exquisite and just, placed just right. And it's so deep you can't even absorb. I couldn't, I didn't want to write anything because I didn't want to miss the next line
Yeah,
or
that's
the
how
next
I
thing you're
felt.
going to say. You very engaging. Thank you so much.
I'm just the opposite. If I don't write it down, I can't remember it because they come one after the other. But I think that I experience your poetry more than I hear it. Like you really bring us to this natural state when you describe the pink sandstone and the blue waters and questioning. It's very questioning poetry. It's very, very engaging.
Takes you into that monumental landscape that I often associate with places like, where you live, Colorado and
Hmm.
Montana, where I haven't been, but I've imagined being in my mind. Um, I think, yeah, every place has its own personality, that has its own character. And I think often it shapes the people and the outlook and the philosophy on life quite dramatically, sometimes without you being quite aware of it. but it's always, when you hear someone like you, Ray, and you feel
Mm,
you're so in touch with that going on around you, that landscape there. So it's
mm,
great.
Well, it's possible the other member of the Colorado contingent here may agree that the
Mhm.
Colorado experience does factor in. I mean, I came here from
Yep.
southern United States, North Carolina, and after,
South Carolina for me.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I
North and
found
south.
Yeah, we
it's
got the
amazing.
hell out.
It's amazing that how much an influence the Colorado experience is for me.
mm.
Yep, it's a great place to be.
I thought that exercise was interesting when you heard people's words and created a poem from the words. And that's like a found poem. Usually we do it through text, whether it's from a book cover or a letter or whatever. But I thought it would be interesting to say for like tonight, right? If in listening, because I love listening, it's like going to a museum to me. I try to hear it.
Mm.
If everybody took away the words that touch them and create a poem, and then the next time we get together, we recite our found poem. That would be interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, that experience with the jazz band. These are professional jazz musicians. They're just
Yeah, it's great.
outstanding, and that experience is he introduces me, and I sit down. I have an iPad I write into. I don't write it on paper, and thank God for spell check. But I just write it like a madman, and whatever comes out is what I read. And what I read to you today has had a wee little bit of editing. I changed a couple of words, but it's
Mm,
really what's there. And
mm,
but it's a delight to do it. It's really kind of a thrill and in your face all at once because you're going to be reading out to people. And anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick thing, kind of a call out to a different online open mic, which is the open mic used to be Nomadic Press, and it's like the first and third Fridays of the month. And Nazila Jameson, who does it, um, she like goes through the chat as we're doing it and writes it and makes a found poem every week out of what lines we're repeating from the poems, and that's how she finishes the night, is with that. And it's
mm,
always just wonderful, to hear how all of our what we get from the other poets all work together. It's a beautiful thing. But yeah, I get you. There are so many like neat things like that where we have painters who uh, come in and do stuff along with the bands and stuff like that. There's several people who I love dearly here in Denver who have been doing that for decades.
mm.
One of my best poetry experiences was reading aloud with a jazz band at 100,000 Poets for Change in Paris. And it's an incredible experience, and then timing your delivery with what they're doing. And it's a work of art in itself. I love that in my multimedia approach,
Yeah,
multi-art.
Mercury Cafe here in Denver, they have it every week.
Really,
The and
oh,
before the slam at the Mercury Cafe,
yeah,
where
I gotta
people,
I gotta discover the Denver area.
Denver has so much good stuff going on. Love this place.
Nice. All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Ray. And I'll send
Thank
that
you very much.
recording out and put it on our page. And excellent, excellent work. So thank you kindly.